So, welcome all of you to the episode 94 of the Values for Life series on transparency. And we have our two very senior, beautiful angels joining from the East Coast of USA, Sister Wadi and Sister Dr. Jena. A hearty welcome to both of you. Thank you for your divine presence. And again, we have a few participants who are always new. So before we go on to the welcoming with the flowers, over to Sister Anu for that later. I would just like to give a little bit of introduction for both of you. So we'll start with Sister Wadi first. She's been with the Brahma Kumaris for almost, I must say, 45 to 50 years now. And she is the coordinator for the states of Florida and also a board member of the BKs in USA. She actually is Sister Veronica, but she's affectionately called Sister Wadi. And I'm sure many of you know that she's one of the first students who was inspired by Dadi Janki. And according to her, she had a profound experience in Madhuban, and which made her dedicate her life for the BK service. And then she continues to be a student and also a senior Raj Yoga teacher. She has been an active member of the EVO, that is, Images and Voices of Hope, and now called the Peace Studio in South Florida. And this has started over 20 years ago. So she's actively involved in those events as well. So welcome, Sister. And also we have Sister Dr. Jena with us. All of us know her very well. She's the founder and director of the Brahma Kumaris Meditation Museum, which is located in the Washington, D.C. area. And she also is the host of the popular America Meditating radio show. Having interacted with her in person last year, it's been an amazing journey. And we welcome her because she's also one of the most influential women, I must say. She's on the 115 powerful women in meditation. She is on the list of that as well. And she's a recipient of the President's Lifetime National Community Service Award. She's also a member of the Evolutionary Leaders Circle, which is a group of thought leaders from diverse disciplines in service to conscious evolution. And she was selected by Empower a Billion Women 2020 as one of the 100 most influential leaders of 2015. So with this, always, I'll be now reciting a poem for both of them. And today's value is transparency. So both the jewels of Almighty, Sister Wadi and Sister Jena, are extremely transparent. That's because they are connected to the Supreme Parent. Looking at the chaotic worldly affairs of the current, let's connect ourselves to the One to get his divine current. So that in life now, over any matter, we don't have to lament and stop cribbing and crying, allowing the soul not to fragment. Wearing this sparkling and pure soul-conscious garment, let's enter the angelic world in the subtle compartment, so that we don't have to leave again this beautiful apartment of the subtle world, and transfer ourselves finally to the silent, soulful department, where there's only supreme silence with no bombardment, where each one of us has the seat fixed as an allotment. So with this, I would request Sister Anu, over to you for the official welcome. Both of you, over to you, Sister.
Thank you.
Wonderful. How long does it take you to compose something like that, brother?
5 minutes.
Oh.
That's truly special. Brother Manoj brings that gifted, beautiful poem to our guests. And today we are really honored and very happy to have such beautiful two roses, very senior Raj Yogi practitioners, teachers, and examples in front of us. So on behalf of the whole team of Values for Life and all participants, roses for two roses.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I can smell the fragrance. This has got fragrance. So here you go.
Mm.
Thank you once again. And we are looking forward to listen to you. Truly the transparency, the beautiful value that you radiate, you show whoever have interacted with you. We want to listen to the tips, how we can become them. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure if everybody knows, but Sister Jenna and I have a very long history together. Jenna, actually, we're very connected first, through the Supreme, but through her mom. And Gita Ben was one of the first students of Raj Yoga in Miami, which is coming up on 40 years ago. And Jenna's stepdad as well, who still continues to be a student. Jenna came a little bit later, but we've been hearing about her right from then. And an interesting coincidence that her parents came to the Brahma Kumaris through Daddy Janki. And although Jenna was there in the background somewhere, but it took another visit by Daddy Janki to really set Jenna on her path. And she too, like me, I think it was an experience in Madhaban that kind of dictated what her life was going to be. So, Jenna, I have to say that this topic of transparency, that over all these years that I'm very glad that it's you that's sitting there, because you have helped me in some ways in terms of understanding this aspect of transparency to the degree to which I can until today. And so on the basis of conversations we've had, on the basis of interactions, on the basis of shared situations, etc., there has been, an enlightenment about the topic. So I just wanted to kick off with that. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. And hello, everyone. Om Shanti. Firstly, I think Sister Wadi and I might never be able to find the words of how proud we are of this Valis team and how you have stayed so consistent for 4 years, offering people from all over the world the depth of what these values mean to our lives. So big congratulations to all of you. And those of you who are actually watching, I beg you, put your emoji of love and appreciation to this team. Being able to organize this for 4 years consistently without leaving a month is huge. So I know they're coming up to their 100th program in October. Good luck with that, because you never know how the drama will just shift you into another gear. The second thing is everyone, Sister Wadi is my grandmother, great-grandmother, great-great-great-grandmother, teacher, guide. She's everything. She knew me from I was a little teenager, and I've grown up in front of her eyes. And so I think her understanding of transparency must be so deep that she sees this kid evolving, going into this stage of her spiritual journey. And now, this is my interpretation, Sister Wadi. She's observing the same kid who is now more like this now on her journey. And that's because as we build transparency, it is a process. It really is. And I think for those of you who have not signed up for the Raj Yoga meditation teachings of the Brahma Kumaris, then I really highly recommend that you try it. Because for the students who are on this meeting, who have been practicing with the Brahma Kumaris, transparency also takes a completely deeper tone, I would say, because my level of transparency before my awakening is so different than what it is today. And so just, Sister Wadi, you're right. You've seen a lot. And I was sharing with you the other day that when I look at transparency, the immediate thought or virtue that comes to mind is honesty. And even that virtue of honesty takes time to really cultivate at the deepest level of what it means.
Really.
Right? Like, yeah, because we think if we're transparent, we can say anything we want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And honesty, I mean, I've thought many times, honesty, whereas other people will very glibly say that, oh, I'm very honest, or I value honesty. To me, honesty is a very deep and kind of a nebulous thing that you're not able to necessarily wrap your head around it, because you're only honest to the extent that perhaps you know yourself.
Yeah.
And that's, as you're suggesting, takes time. And so the honesty before and the honesty afterwards are two, and it's still in process. We're still in process. You know, somebody mentioned something interesting this morning. It may be in scientific terms, I don't know, but they were making, they said there's translucence and transparency and opaqueness. Opaqueness, the light doesn't get through, but translucency, that idea of at least some light gets through. And then I guess the ultimate stage is the transparency, where the light reveals, is able to shine all the way through. I thought that was nice way of looking at the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It connects to what you're saying, that it really is that process. So you can start with the translucent version of yourself until you get to transparency. And I don't know why that for me, before I came on, I started to really think a little bit deeply about this for myself. That my journey towards transparency at times have been like a great struggle, because there's a part of you on your inside that you don't fully trust yet to reveal. And, you know, there's this innate kind of wiring due to us being very body conscious or human conscious, or we're more attached to our five senses. And so there's this projection that we do as human beings, like I have to show or give these people what they want, but I don't show my real self because I'm not sure of my real self. And so that translucent energy is there, where there's an honesty there. I'm not ready to show myself fully. I don't even know what I am. And then you project something to others thinking that should be enough. You understand what I'm saying, everyone?
Yes, yes.
You know, and so you're kind of building on yourself until you find the confidence and the security in you to not be afraid of public opinion, to not be afraid of feeling shamed or defamed because of who you are. But your gradual journey towards your transparency can be a struggle. And that struggle is good because it says, I really want to be free. Or else that struggle wouldn't be there. And so even if you find yourself traveling down that path, you know you're doing something. It's if you don't feel it at all, I would be a little concerned.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I'm really changing. Now, from what I have known with you, Sister Wadi, for the many years we've been together, you have emanated in your personality and behavior. This is who I am for now. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I've got Baba. I'm not going to cheat you. I'm on my journey. Do you recall what was it that built that level of acceptability within yourself that allowed folks like me and so many of your friends in the BK and the world in general to just trust you because you have this element of transparency? What is it? What is that private inner dialogue that allows you to be open with so many?
This may, if I think about it more deeply, I might come up with a different answer. But at one level, it's that I know that throughout eternity, I am with me. I may not be with you, and I may not be with God on the basis of our understanding of how that works. But I, this soul, am with me. And so whoever else I like or don't like, I have to like myself. And I know that I wouldn't be very good at faking that I was something more than what I was. I might even attribute this to some part of my upbringing in Ireland, where anybody who wanted to appear like they were better than somebody else, they would have the legs cut from under them, in a sense. And so it's liking my own self. It's trusting my my drama, my part, whatever, and that no one can do it. No one can be me but me. And then maybe added to that, because it's very easy to talk about where one is at now, but going back to my early days in the BKs, and I know that I came with a particular life's experience, which I think stood me in good stead, because although I was only in my mid-20s, I had a good experience of the world. There was a certain maturity there wherein I was comfortable with my own self. But then in the early days of practicing meditation, I think partly because of the trust that the seniors in general and Daddy Janki in particular had in me. And again, the message that you get from others, once again, I like you. As simple as that. It's not about loving or admiring or any of that, but just that there's a likability. And so Daddy's kind of trust in me was maybe affirmed for me, maybe as well as others. I'm not sure. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, always when we have an individual, much less more than one, that looks at us with that transparency in their vision. And what I mean by that is they don't see any defects while they're looking through you.
No.
And they're looking at you.
No.
And there's a powerful blessing and it's like an invocation that happens
Absolutely.
inside of you when they look at you with that.
Absolutely. That's it, Jenna. That it's not just that they're looking at you, they're seeing you. And there's also an additional subtle power there that brings you into their way of seeing, as they say, seeing into being. And I love this image, the idea again of transparency in terms of the light coming through. And for us, we have the experience of these souls who are so true and are so transparent that God's light is like coming in from behind them. And so that not only does God's light illuminate whatever's in front of them, but as you say, that as well as their clarity of seeing, you're also looking and you're getting a reflection of that light coming back at you. And it's really great souls who can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, I think we're onto something really profound, because it is something as human beings we can practice more. And I like what you were saying, Sister Wadi, that connection between the soul and God, that supreme energy, that light, when the soul has that intimate link, it's intimacy between the soul and God. And in the Brahma Kumaris teachings, to create a more deeper term of affection, we call God Baba. And different traditions might call him different words like Abba and so on. But for the sake of my intimate connection, I might mention the word Baba. So please understand who I'm talking to. So when a person actually lets that energy of God's light, Baba's light, shine through you and you look at another person, it's impossible for you to not see their potential. It's impossible. And I think because there's a lack of transparency, there's so many carvings of disappointment or betrayal or abandonment or disrespect or hurt or trauma in the soul that we have looked at people with that lack of transparency. So it's very hard sometimes to actually see the potential or the benefit of another because we can't see it in ourselves. And what I've loved about my process in Raj Yoga, because there is a consistent teaching, there's a consistent tapping, especially in the morning. God taps you on the door of your conscience and he gives you a guideline. He says, you know what? Here are my suggestions for your day. Give it a try. Might make you feel better. And the moment I don't do some of the things that I've been guided to do for that day, I can feel where my blockages are, that I'm not honest with myself, that I'm not clear. I'm very afraid to show you what I'm really going through. I'll tell you all a story. 3 years ago, right before the pandemic, or three a little bit over years ago, we were living in a place for the center for 14 years. And the guy decides to sell it kind of like from under our feet. And we had to move out within less than 2 months. So the myriad of emotions I went through, one was, after all of my effort, this is what's happening. And then at the same token is my strength. I've got to get online, look for real estate, see what we can do. I have a community to take care of. I called Sister Wadi. I was over. I said, I'm done. This is it. After all Baba and I are doing, this is what I get. What is this? I'm over it. Now, on one level, I was transparent with my feelings to her, but I trust her. And I trusted the words that she would come back and tell me because I knew they were being poured in from Baba. The second thing was, I was still in a state of emotional sense of defeat, that I'm not expecting something like that to happen to me. And that emotional defeat I was feeling was blocking my ability to be open and transparent fully, to let God work even through me at that time. So on one level, I'm transparent with what I'm going through at the present moment. But at another level, there were much deeper layers of transparency I could have explored. But at that time, I didn't have it. So when I turned to Sister Wadi, she said what she needed to say. When I hung up the phone, I stayed committed to what needed to get done, but still inside that emotional defeat was lingering. Wadi, did you remember that time when I called you and we had to move out of the place and I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do it.
Only vaguely. I mean, I remember the time when you had, but
Yeah.
I don't remember the conversation, Jana.
Yeah. Well, the point that I'm saying is that sometimes with your transparency, it is okay to express what you're going through at a particular time. But my recommendation is
No,
I
was just going to say that this is a kind of a wisdom as well. Transparency doesn't mean you go, ugh, that you spill everything on everyone. And especially as you mentioned, you have a community that you are the supporter of, the mother, if you like. And then if you're feeling that, do you share that with them? Is that being transparent? I don't know that it is, because you have to be very cognizant of the circumstances, the effect on others. So it doesn't mean that you're hiding something, but you are very discriminating in where you share it and with whom you share it, knowing that it won't do any damage. Because if you're in a state of doubt, or as I might be feeling the heaviness of something, then it it will only add to their heaviness as well. It won't serve any purpose other than me offloading, right? So that's what
I love that. I love that. Do you all like that? Is it making sense? If you can put your sharings in the comment. So what is it that damages, Sister Wadi, our ability to be transparent with ourselves? What is it that the soul is going through that they lack that transparency?
With oneself, well, there's I don't know if there's an absolute answer. In, you know, I sometimes think in terms of there's transparency, there's the public me, there's the private me, and there's the secret me, as somebody has once said. And so to be able to again recognize these different aspects, and that and the public one isn't a question of just for show. Ultimately, they should all be in resonance with each other, the public, the private, but to be aware that, you know, for whom sharing some secret or another is going to be of some use. But say, for instance, even if I'm having a difficulty with someone, and I want to offload and tell everybody about how difficult this person is being, but what I've done is I've broken you as the third person, your trust in that person, you know. So always very careful in terms of when I'm sharing something, that it's not just your ears that are listening to it, because I know with whom you are going to be in conversation and who you are going to tell it to, you know. That awareness that saying something will not just stop necessarily with the person to whom you're telling it. And so having that awareness of kind of the big picture and going forward. And I think the translation in Hindi for that word transparent, I think they have translated it as something more like kind of seeing into the future. And so that transparency isn't just about in the moment, but you also have a sense of the ramifications of it going forward. You know, where sometimes you can share something of, say, your own weakness with whomsoever, and it becomes a very good thing. Not that you're trying to manipulate their emotions, but that then there's kind of empathy or something, which you then have to go beyond as well. So it's not just about engaging people's emotions, but that thing of, yes, being able to say that there's a lovely line, now you've seen the weakest me and not the me I'd like to be, you know. So I think we keep those two things always in mind, that which hasn't been attended to yet, and yet that you have that aim for yourself.
It's beautiful.
Not sure if it's answered your question, but that was just
beautiful.
what came to mind.
The thing is, it takes me to, there was once a couple, they used to come to Washington quite regularly for classes, to meet with myself and Sister Geeta. And there was something that was being told to them, and they had come and they had said something in the sense of, Sister Jenna, is there something going on over here between you and this? And I says, absolutely not. Please continue to make sure you create that, you create this, and you stay connected. Then maybe a year had passed, and they might have heard something on the other side, but I never told them anything. And then I had revealed, yeah, there's a strain in the relationship, but it has nothing to do with you. That's my account with the person, but it's not yours. That's an element of transparency. You see what I'm saying? Versus what Sister Wadi was sharing is, I could have sat there with this couple and said, oh, you don't understand what that person did, and they were like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Then the other person might say, I don't like that person too. Yes, but then I will come back and say, but this is my account with them. It's not yours. You know that, right?
Yeah.
So then I think it opens up the wisdom you're saying required for transparency.
Yeah.
And I would add to all of you that also the discernment, which helps you to develop your wisdom.
Right. That for me would be like where I've gotten in the way of somebody else taking benefit from another one. That to me is like, I would even say it's a sin. And when I say a sin, is like, beware of the consequences in your own life of that one, you know. And so as you implied earlier on, that an authenticity with your own self, where there's like a confidence in your own self that doesn't need to put anybody else down, even if they are deserving of it, you know, that it's not going to add to your stature. It's not going to provide more clarity for you or anything else. I always, you know, like these subtle karmic sort of things. And part of that thing too, where sometimes where I think I'm being transparent, and yet I'm getting pushback. You know, why am I getting pushback? And so it becomes a means for me to check my own self, because I can come at it either of two ways. Either I can be arrogant and just say, well, they've got it wrong, you know, or I can recognize I'm getting pushback here. They don't think that I'm very loving or kind or whatever else. I have to look at something, you know. And so in the looking, then maybe that I see something that I hadn't before. Have you ever been surprised by how someone else, in being transparent and telling you what they think about you, have you ever been surprised by something they've said? And I'm not talking about your virtues or your qualities or qualifications or talents, but about you as a person, you know. I certainly have.
I'm Pisces. No one is ever going to figure me out. So just forget it.
That's the thing.
The point that I wanted to touch on with you is, and it's a fine line, everyone, that pushback that Sister Wadi is talking about, that actually gives you the permission to check, really, is there some dirt there that's creating a lock for me?
Yeah.
It's not a pushback to tell you to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we feel a little bit disappointed or dismissed by, it could be authority figures, it could be your parents, it could be your supervisor, it could be even a best friend, it could be a mentor, that you feel just a pushback, like they're not going to let anything happen or open up for you. So then what do? Do you really sit there in an inferiority, egotistical space and feel that you're not good enough? Not after you've had your awakening. Because when you've had your awakening and the law of the universe has proven you have what it takes, there's nothing that you can't do. You have the ability to make the impossible possible. That even if your boss, your mother, your father, your president of the country, your governor of your state, create doors that are closed for you, there are a million other doors that will be open. And while you are finding the inner transparency because you feel you are still valued and that you are still a valuable entity on the planet, you don't disregard this part that's going on. You're checking, is there some element of truth there? Because transparency will let you apply the power of discernment to check honestly, what are they seeing? What is happening? But you keep going. because eventually everything lines up. Because
Right. One of the things that can sometimes happen, Jana, is that, okay, whatever it is they're seeing that I'm not seeing, in a sense, and they, whatever they may be, can become a blockage for me. You know, in other words, I want to get to, you know, point B, but they've set up a roadblock that takes away my possibilities, or doesn't permit me entry here, or whatever. I'm not going to stop, but sometimes then, to guard against my being devious in how, because I know I can overcome their barriers and their roadblocks, but that then by the way that I do it, it requires great humility, because if I do it any other way, what will be the response? That's, well, you see, that's what I told you about that one. She's just like that. That it's almost like you act out what they were seeing all along, even though, you know, that is not the reality of you. So that thing, I think that a great humility is needed. And I've seen how through one's humility and pure persistence and clarity of what they have signed up with God to do, how ultimately everybody else capitulates, Jana. It's a given. It's a given.
Yeah. You know, on one level, everyone, where Sister Wadi and I are talking about, even if there's a blockage with a person or a group of people, but there's also that interior blockage that is the real work.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah.
And the external is just a sample of, just that's a sample. Just check
Yes.
that. Just check that along the way.
Yeah.
I think all of you can understand. Keep moving. Don't give up. Along the way, you'll get these checking signals. And on the outside, Sister Wadi said it best at the beginning of the program, that one of the reasons why she feels that she's been transparent on her journey or natural on her journey is at the end of the day, she's going to spend eternity with her own spirit. And I don't know if this is a Miami blessing or if this is a Florida blessing, but Sister Vita was like that. I am like that. At the end of the day, I have to check, am I giving sorrow to anyone? You know, and if you can come up feeling like intentionally, I know I have not strategized how I'm going to hurt somebody or block somebody from opportunity. I've worked with people and I have proof of people who were trying to divide our space, people who went to students to tell them things that were not true about me. I even have souls living with me who were so damaged by the other person. And still, that person, I gave them the responsibility of Merleys, cooking, being around, doing things, because I saw their quality. But when it came on to me, they had some other agenda. But that's them. Like what Sister Wadi said, I have to spend the rest of my life with me.
Yeah.
And even though, even till today, I still have an element of disappointment of how it's been handled, I still have to accept, but Jen, what does love want me to do? To let it go. And it's because of the element of transparency with the self that you will always find the strength to do what's best for your spirit to be at peace. Does that make sense, Sister Wadi? Like,
makes a lot of sense.
yeah, your spirit has to find its peace.
It's exactly what you're saying, and it's not even in terms of eternity, but it's living with yourself right now. I mean, could you live with yourself if you're biased against somebody, or you're prejudiced against somebody, or you decide somebody should not be included, or whatever? Your conscience would chomp would chomp on you, not just bite you, but chomp down on you, that it would make it impossible. And so I'm just going to say that, it's good. It's like something you have naturally, Genevieve. It's something you have naturally. And so, and when you have something naturally, and whether we consider it like a gift or a blessing or whatever else, but when it is there in a natural way, where you haven't really had to make any effort on it, then to go against it, that to me then is another one of those situations. Look out, there's going to be severe ramifications, because you've sullied something that was there as a blessing or a gift in part in within your nature, within your personality, within everything that you are. To go against that is
tough.
The repercussions are severe.
And I have gone against it on few occasions. One example was yesterday. We were driving. I was going with the girls, and we were going to get visa because we're going to Europe at the end of this month. And I just saw something, and I was just going on about it in the car, like, I just can't believe if that was ever my daughter, I said, Jen, come back, Jen, come back. It's just like I had to tell myself, stop, don't go any further. And the girls just started laughing at me. I said, you see how I take care of myself? I don't go too far down the hole.
Exactly. That's the thing. And then the effect that you have on others, and that's the thing too, where whatever it is that you're saying about someone else, or one thing is where you are saying something because you're looking for a resolution, or you're looking for understanding or something. But where you become instrumental in influencing others negatively towards that other person is
painful.
It's not. This is not to do with transparency. We've been talking maybe an aspect of it kind of came up on Thursday, Independence Day, and equating independence maybe like transparency with mastery, right? And if there isn't mastery, then what you will have is manipulation, right? And so we were kind of looking at that thing. One is where I manipulate others to get sympathy or whatever it is. But the other thing is how I manipulate my own thinking, my own awareness of myself, to keep myself stuck, in a sense, justifying. And so I'm thinking I'm being honest with myself. Oh, well, I'm not capable of this, or I can't do that, or whatever. But you're manipulating yourself just to stay in that place, rather than, like, if there's transparency, it would be more, well, I know I don't fully have the qualifications, but God's light is on me and with me, and I can go towards that. I can become that. My journey doesn't stop, according to what the manipulation of my own thinking. So I was just thinking the difference that being transparent, really transparent, really means mastery.
I love that. I love that a lot. I've been on the other end of I guess the word is heavy, even if I mention it, but the other end of defamation, where maybe one or two people say something that they don't like about me, and a whole bunch of people talked about it, and it's the same narrative that you see in people's drishti, their eyes on you. And you go in front of these souls and you can see it. And, we're so sensitive as creatures. And when you have to look into that over and over again, forget their eyes, everyone. Their eyes are their eyes. But the real opportunity here is the way you're feeling when you see eyes look at you that are clouded, that they don't have the transparency in it, like I've seen with Daddy Janky, so to speak. So it's the way that you're feeling. And if you're feeling a sense of low self-worth, unloved, unseen, scared, devalued, then you've just gotten a great opportunity in terms of the kind of an honest work you now need to do on yourself to believe in what God sees in you, and that these souls have come to help you to do the work, because without them, you wouldn't have even known that it's there in you. Do you understand what I'm saying, Sister Woody?
I very, very much so. And I'm in full agreement with you. And one of the little things that helps me in that area is to depersonalize it, And so depersonalizing it, you're able to say, otherwise you get stuck in the person. You've walked into their life. You're doing their thinking for them. This is what they feel about me. This is what they think about me. So you've put yourself in their head. But depersonalizing it means that, as you say, this is par for the course. I needed this experience, of these kind of challenges or sanskars or whatever to get me to my destination. And even as I move forward in my destination, whether other souls remain back there, or even if they go in front of me, it's okay. It's okay. But not to take things personally, but this makes you the master, where you're in charge of your own edification, if you like, your own upliftment, in that whatever comes to you, it was meant to come to you because the wisdom in your soul knows that you are ready for that challenge. And through whom it comes doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, and I was thinking about this, and I'm a little hesitant to say it, that my independence, my mastery should be such that I am not dependent on anyone else to, in other words, anyone tomorrow could throw me under the bus, so to speak, and yet not to live in that thing of like, I need this one for this, or I need the other one for something else, or, but that everything, whatever you need is going to come. Whoever it's supposed to come through, it'll come through. And in that kind of way, that you're the master, and that things come not because of your karmic accounts with them or anything else. I don't see it in those terms, but because my soul has the wisdom to know that I'm ready for that challenge. It's affirming that I'm ready for that challenge, even though I might think, oh, take it away, I don't want to deal with it. But
it's lovely. It's so beautiful. So beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, would this be a nice pause moment for a little Om Shanti? And if everyone out there, to the crew, if there's anything that Sister Wadi has shared, or even myself, just put that in the comment. If you've got a question that perhaps you'd like to request from us, do it now. And let's just try to surrender into whatever was shared. Was there a feeling in you that you felt a resistance, which meant there's something here that you need to identify? Or was there a flow, like a blessing, a pat on the back? Oh, I'm doing that. Thank you. So it's a confirmation. So check those feelings in you now and see how you're feeling. Write it down. Kind of look at it. Remember, as you continue to evolve and grow, and the world continue to change in ways that we won't physically have control over, you're going to have to reach a place of self-acceptance and transparency in order to protect yourself and your loved ones. So let this time together be something of great value, that you can sense you need this for your transformation. this moment of transparency. We've already covered so many different layers of it. You know, it's not just about you speaking your mind, but it's about you having the wisdom to know how to speak so that it supports the larger picture than just your personal limitations or specialities. So let's just take this moment now for a little introspection, and we'll play the Om Shanti meditation, which was composed by a friend of ours in the Brahma Kumaris, Kristen Hoffman, who's a beautiful, beautiful singer, a trainer from the Juilliard School of Arts in New York City. And just go into the energy that she's emoting for us and the space. So let's take a moment.
Do you hear it singing? We are this voice.
Oops. Sorry, mistake. How did I call you? I have no idea.
Together we make this choice. Together we make this choice. Together, Om Shanti. We're singing Om Shanti.
Beautiful, huh? She's so beautiful, her music.
Oh, that's I was there when she did that recording first. It was never to be forgotten. We were all on Zoom together, and just it was almost like a spontaneous,
It was.
amazing, still amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Dr. Manoj and team, do we continue for the next 30 minutes, or is there room for questions and answers, which I think we would love?
A lot of questions. So
A
we were
lot
all-
of questions. Oh, that means Wadi Ben and I weren't very clear.
on the layers of transparency, there are quite a few questions. So, but anyway, we were all mesmerized by the soulful music and the voice as well. It was fantastic, Christine Hoffman. Right. So, thank you so much for really getting out so many layers of transparency, which we never had felt actually. And the first question is, you all covered it, but I want one of you all to just elaborate more. As a doctor, as a healthcare professional, when I'm sitting for counseling a patient who's got a terminal illness, maybe cancer, maybe a big kidney disease, and Sister Wadi covered that obviously I feel my conscience bites me if I don't tell them everything at that instance, because I need to tell them the consequences about the medicines, they need to take it on time. And if I don't tell them everything, though I know that they won't be able to handle in the first instance, but I need to tell them everything. So here there's always a bit of, in my mind as well, that, and particularly I deal with such critical illnesses, kidney problems in children. So is it right that if I am fully transparent with them, or if you say that don't be so transparent, just see whether they are able to handle it or not, and tell them gradually in steps at the second visit, third visit. So how do I go about? And we have Dr. Mehta also with us. I'm sure he sees cancer patients. So he would also relate to this all the time in our practice.
I would imagine in the medical profession, there are those who don't exactly wrestle with this question, but they just say, well, you know, as I remember once when I was with a dear friend and waiting for a diagnosis, right? And we were sitting in a big room, like I've forgotten, it wasn't like a waiting room, But all of a sudden, the door burst open and the doctor walked walked past us. And as he's walking past us, he goes, "You've got TB," and kept on trucking. And I'm sure there are many in the medical profession who would be just like that, when I almost picked my friend up off of the floor. That would be like that think that, oh, you're supposed to tell them everything. And so just, that's not transparency. That's not even, that's just relaying the facts. That's the facts. It's not even about honesty. It's just the facts. Well, it's not about truth. It's honest, but it's not true, the truth of the thing. And so I would imagine every case would have to be particular. And because you're such a gentle soul, and no doubt that carries through into your profession too. And so you would be able to discern, and I know that you keep linked with the Supreme while you're doing this, and that would be able to, for you to be able to gauge the extent to which you can, there is nothing in you that wants to withhold the truth from them, but you also will have a sense, hopefully always right, and you must have a record of this for your own self, of should it be 90%, should it be 95%, should it be a little less or a little more, knowing that you will ultimately tell them everything as they are able to hear it. I would think. I don't know, Jenna, what would you say?
No, I agree. I agree. I maybe the only thought that's coming to mind is it's you have this energy about you. It's the energy that you convey to the patients that I think they feel the most. I remembered once getting checked by my doctor in India, and they gave me a diagnosis that was like, it just hit me. And after they gave me the diagnosis, I was sick after that for months because she did it so strongly. And I thought I was fine before she told me what was wrong with me. So I think it has to do with the energy that you speak with as a physician, because we come to you in trust. You know more about our body and our well-being. I want you to tell me, but I think the way that you do it will determine the level of transparency required.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, let's move on to another very sensitive issue. This is called GID, Gender Identification Disorders, because a question has popped up here that one of my child, it's an adolescent, and he's come out to me that he is having problems with the gender identification, which means it's very common nowadays. It's actually been common since ages, but nowadays it's been more picked up, more spoken about, homosexuality and gay and being lesbian and all sorts of those. Actually, it's wrong to call them disorders. They are just patterns of what people want to identify their gender with and whom they are attracted to. So the question from the parent is that my adolescent has told me this. It's probably from the USA, I think. And I'm not able to take this transparent behavior of his in a right perspective. What should I do?
Very easy. I know it's difficult, but very easy. That's a soul. And that soul is your child. That's it. There's nothing beyond that. That is a soul. That's God's child. Definitely his main child. You have been given as a trusteeship to guide and support the child as far as they need your support and guidance. It's a whole different way of parenting, I know.
But what Jenna's saying is so. I'm sorry, Jenna Ben, you hadn't finished.
No, go, Waddy Ben.
No,
go.
I just wanted to say what you're saying is absolutely right. That that it's just he or she is a soul, and that your love for that soul will be your guide, if you like, and then you will, seek the right information, whatever you need to learn, but that you're in it together.
Yeah.
You and your child are in this together. is
Yeah.
new for the child. And this is where your being transparent comes in. I don't have the answers for you, but so many parents might feel threatened or at a loss, and then where they would try through their, external strength to demand or insist or whatever. And it's just showing their extreme vulnerability rather than being able to admit to their vulnerability. I don't know. I don't have a resolution. We're in this together. Let's see how we go. But don't forget, I love you to the ends of the earth or whatever else.
Mm.
I mean,
And
I have
you've got to, maybe the only reason why you're grappling with what your child is going through is because of society.
Yeah.
And the second thing might be, I don't want my child to struggle, because to be under that genre, you don't think that it's easy. So those emotions and thought patterns are normal and they're human. But
Yes.
at the end of the day, society is not going to rescue you or your child. So in this particular time, I want you to step back, whoever asked the question, and just think for a moment what the soul is going through, what your child is going through. They look at the world and they see what seems normal, like everybody seems to be proper. And then they look inside and they look at their bodies and they feel like their body parts don't belong to them. They belong to some other gender, and they're not in that gender. And the confusion that that child is feeling. So I loved what Sister Wadi said. And in addition, I would really, really be there, because they must be in hell. And they need your love now. But in addition to that, I would go another way of saying, let us practice this soul consciousness. And maybe if we try to understand more deeply together what the soul actually is, honey, maybe we won't have to go through the challenge of whatever this is, whatever this means for us. But whatever the answer will be for both of us, like Swati Ben said, we're in this together. We've got this. Society is not going to come to your rescue. So forget whatever they say about your son or your daughter, about you or your family. They're not paying your mortgage. That's God's child. You are a trustee of that soul. And this is the opportunity that you both have to learn something. Remove judgment. Increase your compassion. Be opened. Be accepting. Find love within. Increase your love. Spiritualize your relationship. There's so many opportunities that are presenting you right now. Forget the human way of looking at it. Just raise your awareness. That's my thoughts. And I think
Yes. I would. I'll take a few more questions, and it'll be good if one of you can answer, because there are quite a few. Okay, so this is a very big question. I'll just summarize it for you all. That is transparency created, or is it an instinct which is invoked? Because the person is saying that I have been into Brahma Kumaris and she's using the word Baba. I find myself pushing Baba away because I'm unable to be transparent with myself. And then I hit a wall and I keep waiting for something to clear the way for me. So Baba's given me knowledge, but how do I deal with this aspect of mine where I'm not able to be transparent?
I guess very simply that a little bit more practice of the first lesson is required, as to who you are and the way that God sees you. And I often say that, God, again, like Sister Jenna was talking right at the beginning about how these great souls, how they perceive through their, their goodness, their clarity, their cleanliness, etc., and that they only see that thing in you. But this is what then we have to learn to do for ourselves, and realize that God only sees me through his own light, that he only sees light when he sees me, and to accept that. But I think sometimes, and of course Jenna can add too, I think sometimes souls can kind of get into the habit of punishing themselves, and that they don't get beyond this, I'm not good enough. You know, this is what I say, this manipulation of my own thinking, you know, and so to try and, you know, try on a new thinking in terms of the way that Baba would see you, and tell yourself, I am love, I am strong, I am light, all of those things. Sit with it. Yeah, go with Jonathan.
First and foremost, I feel you. And I can only try to understand that conflict that's happening in you. And it's okay. I think if you raise your bar way too high and you forget to understand that you're getting qualified to get to that level, you can start to deceive yourself and turn away from Baba. And that's what your past, and that's what your illusions of your past will try to influence you to do. It's what they're good at. The anger, the lust, the greed, the attachment, the ego, the algae, it's good at making you pause, stop, or turn back. That's its expertise for a soul's journey. And here's what I would recommend. Exactly what Sister Wadi said, no doubt. In addition to that, try to do some basic practical things that might stimulate and stir up your energy. 1, journal. Talk your complete feelings out, but also talk about your strengths and your goodness. 2, music. Create a playlist of music that you can turn up high when you're cleaning up the house or getting the place together. If you can't turn up your music high because you live with a grumpy grandmother, then put on some earpods and do the work. 3, you've got to have some good friends, even if it's just one. Call them. Be open about how you're feeling. Don't put down the organization. Don't put down this person. Don't put down that person said this. Has nothing to do with any of that. It's about your transformation. Talk to your friend. Find something that will trigger for you. 4th, watch comedy, because you need to shift the energy. Really, you need to shift the energy. You need to laugh. 5, maybe listen to inspiring talks and classes. There's such a myriad of options. Personally, I love what comes on the Brahma Kumaris, but I also have very good friends that help to stimulate me, like Caroline Mace or Michael Beckwith or Ian Levinsant, Marianne Williamson, Joe Dispenza. These teachers complement the study of Raj Yoga meditation. So if you try these methods, they can help you to shift from that. Because once you've been awakened in the teachings of Raj Yoga meditation, something clicks and you know it. It's just that the journey requires some attention and effort. So you just need to hang in there and look for those people that can also hold your hand. But don't turn back. Because once you break the connection to source, then it's only whatever power you've got left that will push you forward. Okay? But
Wonderful.
my
Nice.
understanding and love is with you.
Practical things to do, a list
Yeah.
of what to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So speaking of the next question, Sister Wadi mentioned that depersonalize. So this question is about, at office, I'm a very transparent person and I tell out my heart, and I'm not in a good way, not in a bad way. I tell out the person is saying, but sometimes they con me, they criticize me for things, and they give the plea, oh, you're a transparent person, so you can take it. But I don't like it when they do that, she's saying. And how do I not take those remarks personally? And if you'll explain a little bit about depersonalization, and also to touch upon, I'm sure they should do some Raj Yoga and develop soul consciousness as well. If you can just give an answer to this question.
I would not even have been able to begin to suggest depersonalizing things if I hadn't been practicing Raj Yoga, because I was wholly involved in my own life and my own emotions, and claiming every feeling as mine, and therefore validating lots of things that, after having practiced meditation, it allows for a little bit of separation, from the feelings, from relationships and everything else. And so even to get to the thing of depersonalizing, that took some time. And even relationships maybe in the past that would have been difficult, whether from childhood or at any other time, that suddenly there was the feeling of being able to, I don't even want to say forgive, that sounds too grandiose, but to be able to understand or put it in the context of their lives and their experience, which was all they had when they came to me. And so they brought their experiences with them. But through the meditation, you're able to separate that person from her or his role, and along with it, their experiences, and just see them as that pure light as well. And so I don't know what the person is meaning when they say about being in the office and being transparent, because the whole thing of work and transparency, means that you kind of, what's the word? You kind of take responsibility. You're accountable. You become accountable. And so I suppose to the degree that I'm transparent, then there's a certain accountability there. And perhaps the person is either being too transparent, or when it comes to getting kickback from the others, maybe she's not being transparent enough and saying, I remember something somebody said once, and it just really stopped me in my tracks. Maybe I would have said something unkind, or whether it was rough or whatever else. And the person stood in their own integrity, if you like, and just said, are you trying to hurt me? And so I just stopped me dead. And it certainly wasn't my intention, but of course. And so that confidence in your own self that doesn't lash out or end up in tears over something. But if somebody's saying something that's, that's not right, that isn't within a proper framework of decorum or whatever else, then by all means challenge it. And maybe that simple question of, to understand why they're saying what they're saying. Are you trying to hurt me?
I think even for that person asking the question, I think they're internally feeling that they could be a little bit more polished, or they're internally feeling maybe I can do this better. And I think that. That's why you're even asking that question. There are two practical steps that I will suggest. One, imagine yourself in the 10th row of the theater watching your own movie. You'll get a completely different perspective of how you want to respond to the situation or speak to your colleagues. And the second one that you've all heard me say over and over again, what does love want me to do here? And it will just offer so much more to the space. And your colleagues at work will be very amazed by the transformation that's occurring, because maybe they like your straightforwardness, but they just want it to be a little bit more tempered, like a little bit more softer. Just a thought.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And I know the time is up, but I'll take this question because it closely relates to what we just spoke in this last. It's like a quick answer, maybe. Can you say what's the difference between these three words? Transparency, innocence, and naivety.
Naivety would be, for me anyway, and innocence is a quality I hold in great esteem. That innocence is where we're trying to get back to again. That's the original nature of the soul, and innocence means that there's no bad thoughts, bad wishes, any of those things. Naivety is maybe you should be a little bit more aware of something than you're and you're not. There's a little bit of perhaps something lacking in your knowledge or your information or your understanding. And the second thing was, what was the second one?
Transparency.
No.
Innocence.
Innocence and what else?
Naivety and transparency.
And transparency. Okay. So yeah, I think definitely innocence and transparency would, for me, would almost be, if innocence is my goal, a return to innocence, then automatically transparency would be there with it, you know. But when someone's naive, it means there's a kind of an innocence, but it's not a wise innocence. Innocence to me would be full of wisdom. Genuine innocence is full of wisdom. Yeah. Go ahead, Jenna.
Whatever
Throw
Sister
in your
Waddy
bit.
said. Whatever Sister Waddy said.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe you could answer this question because this question is very nice. Like, do I sugarcoat in my dealings with people?
I'm in Washington, D.C. I have to. It's not a sugarcoating for me anymore. I would say when I was younger, maybe in my 30s, I felt it was essential. But I do find that I am more sensitive to the way people feel.
Nice.
There's an interest that even though people won't remember what I said, but they should remember the way I made them feel. So I don't need to sugarcoat anyone anymore, but I feel I'm more present in really being there with them, truthfully and with transparency and interest.
Tactfully.
Yeah, like I'm really present for them.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my answer to that question, Dr.
Beautiful.
So wonderful. Thank you so much. And we have our dear Dr. Ashok Mehta. He's with us again after a few weeks. He had some other commitments. So I'll just request Dr. Ashok Mehta to please propose the vote of thanks. Yeah, over to you.
Om Shanti Ashok Bhai.
Hello, Dr. Mehta.
Good to see you.
I always enjoy listening to Sister Jenna and Vadiben, both of them. Their wisdom and their analytic mind, which puts you through any difficult subject in a nice way. Transparency, of course, we are all transparent to some extent. I don't know whether we are transparent completely. To self, yes, but to others, I don't know whether it is possible to be totally transparent. Like we can be innocent. If we become totally transparent, somebody might call you naivety. But I enjoyed listening to Vadi Ben and to Sister Jenna, which I always do. Sometimes I'm not able to get to the bottom of it because somewhere down the line in understanding the language is a little problem for me. Maybe I think still transparency was the last 3-4 questions I liked the way they were answered. I think thank you very much for Jana Ben and Vadi Ben to share your wisdom on transparency. And I think transparency is something which we all love to be and love to have people transparent. And I think in our spiritual life, I think it reduces our burden and it brings us closer to Karmatit stage, to be transparent with Him. Supreme. Thank you very much. We enjoyed it.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Ashok Bhai. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mehta. And over to Sister Anu for the quick announcements, and followed by the photograph and the meditation. Over to you, Sister Anu.
Okay, so yeah, thank you so much. Transparency with the self brings me to peace. I think I connected the dots and everything starts from there. Thank you so much deeply to both of you, really bringing light to many aspects of transparency. We all will look at it closely. I think I need a little bit. Am I frozen? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but I think you need to reshare the screen. Maybe it's just not sharing. Should I share it from my side?
No, I have the new slides, but yeah, just maybe it needs a few seconds. So
Okay, sure. Maybe just reshare it. Just
Yeah.
do it reshare.
It's working now. So we have our workshop on transparency after 1 week, as we always do. So on 13th of July, 7 a.m. same time and 7:30 p.m. India time. That's our reference time. So please join. We'll have Sister Radha from Rome, Italy, and Sister Antonella from Italy as well. And both of them will take us through, again, in a conversation way, this beautiful value of transparency. And then the next session on Values for Life series is episode 95 on proficiency in Hindi, Prabinta. And we have two senior sisters again coming in a conversation, Sister Dipti from South Africa and Sister Gopi from UK. So it's on 20th of July, same time. So please save your dates and join us then. And yes, you can get all the info on our websites, vihasa.in and vancouver.brahmakumaris.ca, and all the videos, including today's, on our YouTube channel, as well as these playlists. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. As Dr. Manoj brother said, if we want to take a photo of the beautiful two roses, our senior sisters, then please open your videos. So I'll take a few seconds. Yes, everybody? Whoever likes to be in the video. Okay. I got it. Thank you.
So we'll just thank you, sister, and we'll just go with the closing meditation. Should it be a commentary or drishti, whatever is your.
So, Sister Wadi, what would you like to do? Meditation?
Maybe just a thought, Jana, because we're a little over time. Maybe just give a thought or two. Yeah.
Not me?
Go ahead. You.
Me? Okay. Let this be your day of your reawakening to the divinity and the beauty and the power that is within you. The valley of transparency gives you the light to see that. And when you use this value of transparency, you'll be able to see your powers, your wisdom, the love, the peace, and the freedom in it. So we'll hold that for a minute. Take a deep breath in and out. And thank you to the team. Thank you to all of you viewing from all over the world. I'm pretty sure Sister Wadi and myself deeply appreciate your energy to show up for this And it's with the purest of wishes that it has benefited you and it has helped you to continue on your journey gracefully. Sister Wadi, I'm humbled and honored to have been birthed and guided and under your wings of protection, respect, love, and easiness.
Yeah.
Thank you for growing me up, being there for me, and being transparent. Even if it hurted, I know it was all for the best of my ability. And so I deeply am grateful for you and your leadership. So thank you.
So kind of you, Janaban. So kind. Deeply appreciate
Immense
it.
gratitude to both of you for your words
Thank
of
you,
wisdom.
brother.
Whatever Sister Jana said is it's for both, like it's so reflective and true. We are all growing up with you in front of us, with of you. Thank you. Thank you. It was a beautiful session. Thank you, everyone.